Kia ora everyone, welcome to Tawa School Story Time for Thursday the 9th of April. We're going to start off by reading Colin McNaughton's Oomph story. This is actually a really cool story. Another one about Preston Pig, and I'm sure that the wolf will be involved. And already here we've got Bird going on holiday, Mr. Wolf. He's going, clear off, Tweety. Obviously after the pigs again. We're all going on a summer holiday, sang Preston's mum and dad as they headed off for a week at the seaside. Just think of it, said Preston. Sunshine, sea, sand, and sausages, said Mr. Wolf. At last they arrived. During the journey, Preston was only sick twice. And he only said, "Are we nearly there yet?" 37 times. The wolf's gone flying over the car as soon as it stopped. Preston slipped on his swimsuit, slapped on his sun hat, slopped on his sunscreen, and set off across the sand. Suddenly, oomph! Oh, ow! The wolf's laughing. Now that's funny. Why don't you look where you're going? Said the little girl. Sorry, said Preston. Are you all right? I suppose so, said the little girl. How about you? My nose hurts, said Preston. What's your name? Asked the little girl. Preston, said Preston. What's yours? Maxine, said Maxine, but everyone calls me Max. You're fat. Thank you, said Preston. You're rather plump yourself. I like your swimsuit. Thank you, said Max, and she gave a little twirl. How's your nose? Said Max. It hurts, said Preston. I'll kiss it better, said Max. And she did. Preston's gone very red and embarrassed. You're blushing, said Max. Must be sunburn, said Preston. You're funny, said Max. Let's play, said Preston. The next day was Sunday. The wolf's going, I think I'll go vegetarian this week. Preston was up bright and early to meet Max. Let's make sandcastles, said Max. And they did, all day. Max told Preston her dad was a lifeguard, so she spent the whole summer on the beach. Lucky you, said Preston. On Monday they went surfing. Wave, shouted Max. Who to? Shouted Preston. You goof, laughed Max. How's your nose? Tender, shouted Preston. Kiss it better, shouted Max. Race you to the beach, shouted Preston. Don't know if he wants his nose to be kissed again. On Tuesday, they dug a hole. How's your nose today? Said Max. Sore, said Preston. Kiss it better, said Max. Thank you, nurse, said Preston. He's saying, enjoy your trip, Mr. Wolf, and the wolf has gone running down, fallen into their hole. On Wednesday, they explored rock pools. Watch out for the slippery seaweed, said Max. Yes, giggled Preston. If I slipped, I might hurt my nose again, and I might have to kiss it better again, giggled Max. On Thursday, they went sailing. I hope you put plenty of sun cream on your nose, said Max. Otherwise, you might have to kiss it better, laughed Preston. On Friday, they went snorkeling. And there's the wolf going, oomph. And on Saturday, they said goodbye. Come back soon, shouted Max. Soon as I can, shouted Preston. Preston, shouted Max. Did you know that you had a wolf on your roof rack? Very funny, shouted Preston. Goodbye, Max. I'll write to you. And this is what she wrote. Or this is what he wrote. Dear Max, I'm back home now and my nose is better, thanks to you. Blush, blush. I wish I was still at the seaside with you. I had the best time ever. Thank you for being my friend. I miss you. Love, Preston. And the wolf's coming back. Kiss it better, Mr. Wolf. Looking at his nose and he's going, sausages. Awesome. All right, we're going to carry on with Fantastic Mr. Fox. Chapter 7. We'll never let go. At 6 o'clock in the evening, Bean switched off the motor of his tractor and climbed down from the driver's seat. Bunce did the same. Both men had enough. They were tired and stiff from driving the tractors all day. They were also hungry. Slowly, they walked over to the small fox's hole in the bottom of the huge crater. Bean's face was purple with rage. Bunce was cursing the fox with dirty words that cannot be printed. Boggis came waddling up. "Ding and blast that filthy, stinking fox," he said. "What the heck do we do now?" "I'll tell you what we don't do," said Bean. "We don't let him go." "We'll never let him go," Bunce declared. "Never, never, never," cried Boggis. "Did you hear that, Mr. Fox?" yelled Bunce, bending low and shouting down the hole. "It's not over yet, Mr. Fox. We're not going home till we've strung you up dead as a dingbat." Whereupon the three men all shook hands with one another and swore a solemn oath that they would not go back to their farms until the fox was caught. "What's the next move?" asked Bunce, the pot-bellied dwarf. "We're sending you down the hole to fetch him up," said Bean. "Down you go, you miserable midget." "Not me!" screamed Bunce, running away. Bean made a sickly smile, and when he smiled you saw his scarlet gums. You saw more gums than teeth. "Then there's only one thing to do," he said. "We starve him out. We camp here all day and night watching the hole. He'll come out. He'll have to." So Boggis, Bunce and Bean sent messages down to their farms asking for tents, sleeping bags, and supper. The foxes begin to starve. That evening, 3 tents were put up in the crater on the hill. One for Boggis, one for Bunce, and one for Bean. The tents surrounded Mr. Fox's hole, and the 3 farmers sat outside their tents eating their supper. Boggis had 3 boiled chickens smothered in dumplings, Bunce had 6 donuts filled with disgusting goose liver paste, and Bean had 2 gallons of cider. All 3 of them kept their guns beside them. Boggis picked up a steaming chicken and held it close to the fox's hole. "Can you smell this, Mr. Fox? Lovely tender chicken. Why don't you come up and get it?" The rich scent of chicken wafted down the tunnel to where the foxes were crouching. "Oh, Dad," said one of the small foxes, "couldn't we just sneak up and snatch it out of his hand?" "Don't you dare," said Mrs. Fox. "That's just what they want you to do." "But we're so hungry," they cried. "How long will it be till we get something to eat?" Their mother didn't answer them, nor did their father. There was no answer to give. As darkness fell, Bunce and Bean switched on the powerful headlights of the 2 tractors and shone them onto the hole. "No," said Bean, "we'll take it in turn to keep watch. One watches while 2 sleep, and so on all through the night." Boggis said, "What if the fox digs a hole right through the hill and comes out the other side? You didn't think of that one, did you?" "Of course I did," said Bean, pretending he had. "Go on then, tell us the answer," said Boggis. Bean picked something small and black out of his ear and flicked it away. "How many men have you got working on your farm?" he asked. 35, Boggis said. "I've got 36, Bunce said. "And I've got 37, Bean said. "That makes 108 men altogether. We must order them to surround the hill. Each man will have a gun and a flashlight. There will be no escape there for Mr. Fox." So the order went down to the farms, and that night 108 men formed a tight ring around the bottom of the hill. They were armed with sticks and guns and hatchets and pistols and all sorts of horrible weapons. This made it quite impossible for a fox, or indeed for any other animal, to escape from the hill. The next day, the watching and waiting went on. Boggis and Bunce and Bean sat upon small stools staring at the fox's hole. They didn't talk much. They just sat there with their guns on their laps. Every so often, Mr. Fox would creep a little closer towards the mouth of the tunnel and take a sniff. Then he would creep back again and say, "They're still there." "Are you quite sure?" Mrs. Fox asked. "Positive," said Mr. Fox. "I can smell that man Bean a mile away. He stinks." Chapter 9. Mr. Fox has a plan. For 3 days and nights this waiting game went on. "How long can a fox go without food or water?" Boggis asked on the 3rd day. "Not much now. Longer now," Bean told him. "We'll make a run for it soon. He'll have to." Bean was right. Down in the tunnel, the foxes were slowly but surely starving to death. If only we could have just one tiny sip of water," said one of the small foxes. "Oh, Dad, can't you do something?" "Couldn't we make a dash for it, Dad? We'd have a little bit of a chance, wouldn't we?" "No chance at all," snapped Mrs. Fox. "I refuse to let you go up there and face those guns. I'd sooner stay down here and die in peace." Mr. Fox had not spoken for a long time. He had been sitting quite still, his eyes closed, not even hearing what the others were saying. Mrs. Fox knew that he was desperate to think of a way out. And now, as she looked at him, she saw him stir himself and get slowly to his feet. He looked back at his wife. There was a little spark of excitement dancing in his eyes. "What is it, darling?" said Mrs. Fox quickly. I've just had a bit of an idea," Mr. Fox said carefully. "What?" they cried. "Oh, Dad, what is it?" "Come on," said Mrs. Fox, "tell us quickly." "Well," said Mr. Fox. Then he stopped and sighed and sadly shook his head. He sat down again. "No, it's no good. It won't work after all." "Why not, Dad?" "Because it means more digging, and we aren't none of us are strong enough for that after 3 days and nights without food." "Yes, we are, Dad," cried the small foxes, jumping up and running to their father. "We can do it. You see if we can't. See, so can you." Mr. Fox looked at the 4 small foxes, and he smiled. "What fine children I have," he thought. "They're starving to death, and they haven't had a drink for 3 days, but they're still undefeated. I must not let them down. I suppose we could give it a try," he said. "Let's go, Dad. Tell us what you want us to do." Slowly, Mrs. Fox got to her feet. She was suffering more than any of them from the lack of food and water. She was very weak. "I'm so sorry," she said, "but I don't think I'm going to be much help." "You stay right where you are, my darling," said Mr. Fox. "We can handle this ourselves." Chapter 10 is Bogus Chicken House number 1. And we're going to stop there for now. So we'll catch up on Monday. It's Good Friday tomorrow, so I think we'll take a break from Tawa School story time for tomorrow. But we'll be back on, when will it be? Monday for our next Tawa School story time. We probably won't be doing it live. There seemed to be a bit of a change in how they YouTube are doing their live streaming, so I've just got to get my head around that, but I'll pre-record it and have it posted at 10 a.m. every day, and you can feel free to add stuff into the comments below as a way of keeping up with everybody. So thanks for your patience. We'll catch up with you on Monday. Ka kite anō.